None of these animals actually break real physics. That's important to say up front. What they do is push the same physical laws governing everything else on Earth to limits that look, at first glance, genuinely impossible. Once you understand the mechanism behind each one, they stop looking like magic and start looking like some of the most precise engineering solutions nature has ever produced. Number 7. The gecko. A gecko can run straight up a sheet of smooth glass, and for decades, researchers assumed some kind of sticky secretion had to be involved. It isn't. Each gecko foot is covered in millions of microscopic, hair-like structures called setae, and each of those splits into hundreds of even smaller branches. That structure creates an enormous amount of surface contact at a molecular level, enough that weak intermolecular forces, called van der Waals forces, add up across millions of contact points into genuine, reliable adhesion. No glue, no suction, just physics, operating at a scale most people never think about. Number 6. The water strider. This insect walks across the surface of a pond without ever breaking through it, relying entirely on surface tension, the same physical property that lets a carefully placed paperclip float on still water. A water strider's legs are covered in tiny, water-repellent hairs that distribute its weight across a wide enough area that the water's surface tension can support it. And its leg movement is precisely tuned to avoid generating enough downward force to break that tension at any single point. Number 5. The Basilisk Lizard. Sometimes called the Jesus Christ lizard for exactly the reason you'd expect. It can run across open water for short distances without sinking, and the mechanism comes down to raw speed and timing rather than any surface tension trick. Each footstep slaps the water hard enough to create a small pocket of air and generate enough upward force to support the lizard's weight, but only for a fraction of a second, meaning the lizard has to lift that foot and plant the next one before it has time to sink, sustaining the effect through pure repetition rather than any single moment of stability. Here's where this shifts from movement itself into something closer to precision targeting. Number 4. The Archerfish. This fish hunts insects sitting on branches above the water by spitting a precisely aimed jet of water to knock them down into range. Researchers studying this behavior found something remarkable. Archerfish don't just aim in a straight line, they compensate for the way light bends when it crosses from air into water, correcting for a visual distortion most predators never have to account for at all. Even more impressive, since the fish can't adjust the water jet once it's released, researchers found archerfish actually modulate the jet's speed and shape before firing based on the target's distance, essentially calculating the entire shot in advance rather than reacting mid-flight. Number 3. The flea. Relative to its own body length, a flea's jump is one of the most extreme in the animal kingdom, and the mechanism behind it has nothing to do with muscle power in the way you'd expect. Fleas store energy in a protein called resilin, an elastic material capable of compressing and holding tension the way a tightly wound spring does, then releasing that stored energy almost instantly to launch the jump. The muscles don't power the jump directly, they load the spring, and the spring does the rest. Number 2. The dung beetle. Certain species have been measured pulling or pushing objects over 1,000 times their own body weight, one of the most extreme strength-to-weight ratios ever recorded in the animal kingdom. Researchers studying this strength attribute it to a combination of extremely efficient muscle fiber density relative to the beetle's small size, and a leverage advantage that simply works better at smaller scales. The Same basic physics that makes an ant capable of carrying many times its own weight, while a human, scaled up, could never manage the equivalent. And, number 1, the woodpecker. Every time a woodpecker strikes a tree, its head experiences deceleration forces that researchers have measured at over 1,000 times the force of gravity, a level of impact that would cause severe brain injury in almost any other animal, including humans, within a single strike. Researchers studying woodpecker skull anatomy have identified several specific adaptations working together to prevent that damage. Spongy, shock-absorbing bone structure surrounding the brain, a skull shape that keeps the impact traveling in a straight line rather than introducing the rotational forces that cause the most severe brain injuries, and a relatively small brain size that further reduces the physical strain of each impact. A woodpecker can strike a tree thousands of times in a single day without injury. Using biomechanics, researchers are still studying for potential applications in human head protection design. None of these animals broke a single law of physics to do any of this. They found the exact edge of what those laws allow and built a body specifically tuned to operate right up against that limit, again and again, without failing. Out of these 7, which one do you think would be hardest to actually believe if you saw it happen in front of you? Tell me in the comments, and subscribe to NatureCrest for more deep dives into the animal kingdom's most extraordinary and most extreme physical abilities.